Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jainer, and today I'll be talking to you guys about a question I came across in social media, especially listening to a podcast from Joe Rogan, where he had a guest, and his guest was Jonathan Hay, a clinical psychologist who was very interested at the time in the question that had to do with social media. Like it was, the question was, does social media cause stress and anxiety and depression to adolescents? And then second question became, so parents wanted to know if if they allow their child to use social media, how much time should they use social media? And they also wanted to know, besides how much time, they also wanted to know um, at what age precisely. And so I wrote down a couple of questions here, and as I read them, I'm gonna share my thoughts on what I think. And so I just think it's a very important topic in psychology, so that's why I decided to make a video about it. So question number one is, the social media use contribute to the recent rise of adolescents mood disorders, depression, and anxiety? Question two is for parents. So parents ask, should I let my 11-year-old have an Instagram account or Snapchat? If not now, when? If yes, what time limits? So one study suggests that moderate use of digital technology is not too harmful and may help kids stay connected to the world. So this study suggests that, basically, what parents should do in reality is, control the social media usage of their kids, meaning that, as long as their kids, if they're gonna allow their kids to use it, they shouldn't use it. They shouldn't allow them to use it, I don't know, more than 5 hours or 6 hours. So there is no reason at all why your kid should be using social media for more than 5 hours, or I'm guessing, max 4 or 5 hours, because more usage than that can contribute to obesity, contribute to not being socially active. So you definitely want your kid at a young age to be interacting with other kids, or at least talking to you. And as parents, they are kids' role models are above all their parents, and they're gonna look up to them. And so yeah, it is a time when parents should be talking a lot to their kids, and influencing them, and playing with them, and teaching them all they can. So and then if your kid is too much time on social media, that may lead, like, it's related to obesity. It doesn't necessarily cause obesity, because there are many kids out there who I've seen that spend the entire day on social media and are skinny, and are healthy. But that's why a lot of social media use is related to obesity. It doesn't precisely cause it, but it's related. So that's something to watch for. So I have here, 1 or 2 hours a day is better than zero usage. This makes sense because social media yeah, allows you to know what's going on in the world. So you have some positive consequence behind using social media as an adolescent. So yeah, 1 or 2 hours is better than nothing. Of course, we're we should be grateful that we have social media today, because it allows for better communication. It allows to get work from school done easier. It allows you to look up information uh, where, for example, I couldn't do that in Cuba, for example, when I was younger. And I know for a fact my friends that I left behind in Cuba couldn't do that. So, and maybe I don't know, in the 80s, early 90s, not everybody could afford here in the United States a computer, a desktop at home. So, it's a good thing that today, everybody I know for a fact, has at least a smartphone or a laptop or some special device where they can go get on the internet and look up any information. So that's a good thing. So of course, 1 or 2 hours a day is better than zero usage. And I have here, more than 2 hours of usage could potentially be harmful. Of course, well, I mentioned before that I thought that 4 hours max would be the ideal limits that parents should limit their childs to use. But so this is, I'm reading, based on studies that so Jonathan Haidt, who is a clinical psychologist, had uploaded he uploaded a study that I saw on Twitter. So I just went ahead and read everything, and so I pulled out the most important things of the study. And I'm reading these studies. I mean, these important facts to you guys, and I'm summarizing and basically sharing what I think of it. And so yeah, more than 2 hours of usage could potentially be harmful. And yeah, at a young age, you don't really want, there's no reason at all why. Because I remember Jonathan Haidt discussing with Joe Rogan on a podcast, and he said that there's no reason at all why parents should allow their kids, who are less than 13 years old, to already have Facebook, because at that young age, basically the child is not prepared for having social media, and start comparing their appearance to other kids, or start noticing that they might have a boyfriend or a girlfriend depending on their sex. And whoever they're seeing on social media has a boyfriend, or went traveling, or their life is great. And so unconsciously they start comparing themselves, and it's a very young age, and there's no reason at all why this should happen. So basically the whole idea is that social media is for later on, after 13 or 14 or 15. So definitely at an age where the kid could handle that the fact that they are like, basically when the kid starts understanding that life is just not equal for everybody, and it's okay sometimes that you have less of something and somebody else has more of what you might want. And that's a great thing about life, because it makes you ambitious, and want to pursue more, or want to obtain more. So I'm going to continue reading. Heavy use of smartphones is associated with reduced well-being, even worse for girls than boys. Of course, as I mentioned, girls, especially at a young age, are more focused on their relationships, and they are gonna look at their friends and pay attention to if their friend has has a boyfriend, or if their other friends um, have are very popular or more popular than them, and they're gonna start comparing themselves to their friends on social media, and they're gonna be that's gonna make them sad, or that's gonna get them depressed, because they're gonna start feeling inferior. And nobody wants, like, as a parent, nobody will want that. And what else? So yeah, the reason why girls have it worse than boys when it comes to social media is because boys naturally care more for things, like cars. Or I even heard Jonathan Haidt saying, that they know for a fact that boys are more likely to search pornography online, and that's a you could say a natural thing among boys, because I guess they they would boys would get more addicted to things in particular, whereas girls would get more addicted to focusing on the relationships of other people's, and comparing them. The girls are more attracted basically to people, to helping people, to know their status, and all of that, and just like I mentioned, boys are more attracted to things. And so that's what's happening there. There's a major difference. So I'm going to continue reading. Adolescents who spend more time on new media were more likely to report mental health issues. The ones who spend more time on non-screen activities, in-person social interaction, sports, exercise were less likely. Since 2010, there has been an increase in depression and suicide rate. So that is something scary right there. So since 2010, depression and suicide rate has been going up because of social media use, and that is something to watch out for. Related to online harassment, poor sleep, low self-esteem, and poor body image, body weight dissatisfaction. So yeah, that's exactly what I've been discussing with you guys this whole time. So cyberbullying is a real thing, and anybody can just log in to a social media website like YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is, and you don't even have to show your face. You don't have to type your age, and it could be an adult bullying your kid, or making fun of him, and your kid is just not well developed. He's not at a stage of life where he can take criticism, even if it's constructive criticism, So that's why it's extremely dangerous, and cyberbullying is a real thing. Now, I know, and this is where the contradiction comes. So, if the parent would want their child to be exposed to danger and threat, and expose them to real life scenarios, then I suggest parents to take their kids to playgrounds and have them play with other kids, and develop their social skills and play rough, and or be good, how do you say it, good sports. But yeah, one thing is playing one-on-one, in school, in a playground, and another thing is to play online or interact online, which is totally different. I don't really think technology has its limits, and I just don't see how technology, when it comes to adolescents and children, is helping them develop their social skills. I think well, I'm really sure for a fact that uh, young kids need social interaction, and technology is not giving them that. Technology, all technology is doing, and having a computer is just allowing them to look up more info and to work on school projects and all of that, but it's not helping their development at all. So that is just what I think. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends no screen time for children under the age of 2 and limited screen time for all children. So yeah, I remember earlier this year when I was taking Intro to Psych in college. My professor told us that yeah, basically about that same fact about pediatrics. And so what basically happens is I can't recall exactly at what age, but I'm guessing specialists or psychologists have noticed that when you put a tablet or put a baby of 6 months old to see something on TV, and they're really focusing on one aspect of the image that's playing on TV. So let's say there's a cartoon on and there's a main character in the middle of the screen, so they might see that, but they completely ignore the rest of the image, and that's why it just I guess it's not good. So basically, when the kid is a couple of months old, 1 year old or 2 year old, the best thing you can do as a parent is read to them, talk to them. The most important thing for them is to listen to your voice, and they are gonna be attracted to your voice. It's natural. I mean, they start hearing sounds from the moment that the child is inside the belly. So yeah, it's not a good idea to have the kid watch a lot of TV or a lot of cartoons, and there's a lot of advertisement out there that when you go to the store, you could see stuff out there to supposedly that'll make your kid smarter if you buy it to them, like a video saying, hey, buy this video. It's gonna make your kid smarter, and it's about learning the ABC, or I don't know, smart cartoons, and they're making parents believe that these products out there, whether it's DVDs, audios, or whatever it is, media, they're making their parents believe that their kids are gonna become smarter if their parents buy them those things. And according to research, that's just not true. So what I suggest is just read to your children. So massive amounts of media usage is related to obesity and decreased health. We already went over that. For teenagers, nearly every type of technological activity predicted poor health. That is very true. Higher levels of physical activity, lower levels of screen time are associated with lower depressive symptoms. Of course, if your child is more physically active, then he's gonna start showing lower depressive symptoms. And of course, if your child is really active with social media, he's gonna start showing higher depressive symptoms. So makes total sense. Participants in negative social media behavior are associated with depression and anxiety. So that was all I could find in the research study Jonathan Hay did, and they are still adding a lot of psychologists are adding to that same study, because I believe he left it open on Twitter, and any psychologist out there could just I guess edit the research and add whatever they want to add on, and it's an ongoing study basically, and I think it's relatively new, and it's really important because I go to college, and I work at a barbershop, and so I'm out there in public all day, and I see everybody on their cell phones, and people are not communicating anymore. And I see, in my job, um, when I start cutting a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old, or even I've seen 10-year-olds who cannot get a cut without being on their cell phones or without having a tablet in front of them. And I just see that, social media is just getting us really addictive, and people are not communicating with their spouses anymore, and with their friends. So I guess we're not as socially engaged as we once were, where we didn't have that many distractions to keep us from communicating with each other. So I definitely see that's why I decided to upload a video about this, because I felt that it was of huge importance. And so going back to the original question, does social media use contribute to the recent rise of adolescent mood disorders, depression, and anxiety? Yes, I guess we can all agree that it does, and I believe it does. Um, but I have to admit that I found some people, like some psychologists, saying that um, social media use it was related to depression and anxiety, but it didn't necessarily lead to depression and anxiety. So I guess it depends on the child. It depends how well the child adjusts to all of that exposure to social media, and how well the parent explains a lot of behavior that goes on in social media, and uh, so my conclusion, or one of my conclusions to this topic, is um, social media usage in adolescents is related to depression and anxiety. It doesn't necessarily cause depression and anxiety, but it could potentially be dangerous. So, uh, so thanks, guys. If you had not watched my last video on a book review I did on Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life, please check it out and leave a comment and a like. And hopefully you like my videos, and I'm very, very glad I got to share this topic with you guys. Peace.